And welcome to this Mission Control Project Management Solution Overview webinar. My name's Trevor Doornbos. I will be taking you through Mission Control today for about 30 minutes of live demo. I'm based in Sydney here in Australia, where it's a sunny day. My background, I've been in the Salesforce ecosystem for around 7 years, and I've got about 15 plus years working in services, professional services engagement, either as the customer or also as the vendor, as it were. So for today's session, what we'll be covering off is an introduction to Mission Control. We'll be going through a live solution overview of aspects of Mission Control, and then we'll take some questions from the chat. And then we'll finish off with how to get started with the Mission Control. So we had a bit of a milestone in the last week. We've just ticked over 7,000 users across all of our customers globally, 25 plus countries, very widespread around the globe and across various types of industries. So not just professional services, but certainly any aspect where people are needing to actually bill and measure their time. So what are the advantages of Mission Control? Well, Mission Control is built on Salesforce. So it's Salesforce native, which means you can use all the capabilities you get with Salesforce, creating your own fields, updating your page layouts, using those processes within Salesforce, and being able to build out your own reports and dashboards as relevant to your business. Obviously, we're also available on the Salesforce mobile app, and we're integrated at the API layer within Salesforce. To install and set up Mission Control is literally minutes. So you can get that from Salesforce App Exchange, be up and running with the app itself in under 30 minutes, ready to configure to your business. And the great thing is single sign-on. You're logging in through Salesforce. It's that familiar user interface, whether you're on Lightning Experience, Classic, or even a blend of the two. We support both of those. And with Mission Control, we're not going to charge you twice for your Salesforce licenses. So you leverage the licenses you either already have or that you can get from Salesforce. And we'll support from the platform up, even right through to experience sites, otherwise known as community. And what's in Mission Control? Well, one of the key differentiators of Mission Control, it's not just a project management solution. So we're going to be talking a little bit about resource management and being able to look at the capacity of people, of your team, being able to schedule people, choose people based on their skills, their capabilities, being able to put in cost rates and billing rates. So being able to measure out those projects, as it were, and use them as part of your building out your proposals. From a project management perspective, what I'll be taking you through today is the opportunity order generation of a project, but you can create a project many ways. We even have a project request object where if someone wants a project to start, they can send a request and an administrator can actually kick off the project. Obviously, being able to copy projects. I remember my days as a project manager using Microsoft Project. I would always copy projects and milestones from other places. You can do that with Mission Control as well. And what style of management do you have for delivering your projects? Many standard project management solutions on the market either go agile or waterfall. One of the key differentiators of Mission Control is certainly we've got our waterfall methods and methodology for delivering, but we've actually developed Mission Control to help us develop the product itself. So we have the whole agile approach and being able to build out those requirements and programs. I'll be going through a few things such as the Kanban whiteboard, the Gantt chart, having a look at dependencies. We'll cover briefly things around risk management, issue management, and probably finish up on the Project Management Office dashboard. Time tracking is pretty crucial. At last count out of the box of Mission Control, there's probably about 7 different places you could log time. You can use the timer to start and stop. And obviously there's built-in approvals, and also if you've got integration into your Salesforce calendar from Google or from Outlook, you can use the calendar converter and log time against Salesforce events. Financials is a pretty important part of managing any services business and being able to track not just the billing, but also the revenue and being able to recognize that revenue. These are things you can do out of the box of Mission Control. We've just introduced budget management in the latest release. which has been in high demand from a lot of our construction clients, being able to create budget items right down at the milestone level. Things such as tracking purchase orders, expenses, all important, being able to deliver those invoices and track payments, and have your tax rates and multi-currency support in there. From delivering projects, program management is how we actually built out Mission Control to build our own release cycle. So using the program planner, you can build out requirements, your user stories from your clients, use those, put those into a storyboard, and then with Project Builder, build out your release cycles and those sprints from an agile perspective. And again, still leveraging things such as the Kanban whiteboard and the Gantt chart. Collaboration's all important. Obviously, leveraging Salesforce Chatter. We introduced Meeting Manager almost a year ago, so you can actually host your meetings within Mission Control and actually track time against those. Obviously, Salesforce Files, out-of-the-box status reports, which we've just updated. You can send out to your clients weekly and ad hoc, and we've also released a read-only page where you can share that with your clients, so they don't need a Mission Control or a Salesforce login. And of course, those productivity tools, some of these used in different areas, things such as the action pad and the issue and the risk log. So there's a lot to Mission Control, and we won't be covering all of this today, but certainly, hopefully, what we cover off today will be of interest to you and help you understand how Mission Control could better suit your business. I'll be starting off by kicking off a project from a Salesforce opportunity. We'll be assigning a resource. That resource will then mark off an action, log some time, which will in turn create a billing event. We'll issue an invoice, mark that as paid. So just show the cycle, if you like, the life cycle of a project, what happens in the real world. We'll cover off the scheduler. I'll go deep dive into a sample project to see what is available within the solution, then covering off things such as the Gantt chart, timesheet, and other areas. If you do have questions through the session, please feel free to put them into the chat, and we'll be having a bit of a Q&A where I'll cover off those questions at the end of the session. So let's jump into Mission Control. So here we have a number of tabs for our solution demonstration. I'm starting a Salesforce opportunity. So obviously that typical single sign-on, I've got my accounts and opportunities from Salesforce. Then every other tab is from Mission Control itself. In my Salesforce opportunity, when I installed Mission Control, I added this section to the page layout, which gives me the ability to automatically create a project from a template. I'm using the opportunity method where I'll copy the whole template, and I could also use the product method where I have Salesforce products aligned to specific milestones. So it's like a pick list where I can mix and match. The example I'm using today is a fixed price milestone project. So when the first milestone is complete, it will issue a billing event that we can generate an invoice to send to our client. To kick the project off, I can simply edit this field and tick the generate project box, or the only non-standard part of this demo org is I've got a process builder that will do that for me when I click close one. So I'm going to click close one, it'll tick this box, and then under the related list at the right hand side, we should see a project appear. So here's my Salesforce demo project. As I open this up, you'll notice there's a whole lot of tabs across the top of the screen. Now, we ship about a dozen Salesforce permission sets with Mission Control, and you can configure, clone, modify those, make them your own, so you can determine what people need to see. So maybe not everyone needs to see everything to do with financials, or perhaps not even see any dollar figures. My preference, I like to come into the project overview, which is the work breakdown structure, which is my milestones, my actions, and my checklist. Now I want to kick this project off, so I've got a milestone for my requirements workshop, which has an action, and I've got a placeholder role here for my consultant. So very quickly I can see the type of person I need. I can even have cost rates and charge rates in there if I was doing time and materials. We can see this is running late, hence the alert. So I'm going to go into the resource assignment wizard and see who the best person is for the job on this today. When I go in here, I can use my search filters. My people could be on any number of teams. I'm going to look at across the consulting team for a couple of capabilities I might need for this project or for this action. If I want proficiencies, perhaps one's junior or 5 senior, you can work out what you actually need from there. So from the date field here and scale, it'll return a subset of my consulting team and show me the best people for the job today. Okay, let's just hit that again. As I say, it should be all right on the night. If all else fails, hit refresh. Okay, so in our milestone, we're in our action. I'm going back to my resource assignment wizard. I'm going to do a search in here, search across my consulting team, a couple of capabilities, and then let's hit search. Okay, that's looking a bit healthier. And I think I had my demo org sitting there idle for too long. So this is a subset of a consulting team. It's showing who's got the best availability. It looks like no availability on Thursday for Andrea, but today's Wednesday, so that's fine. I'm just going to drag Andrea across to here, and that's going to assign her as the action owner. If I needed to add contributors to here, whether they're billable or non-billable, I can do that too. So a couple of things are going to happen here. That's going to change my milestone, my action from, it's going to, leave them in planned. It's going to assign Andrea to the role here. Andrea's going to get a notification. So she'll get a notification similar to this to say she's been assigned to an action. If you'd add any notes to the action that she needs to know about, they'd be in there. And you can also give people a daily digest, which gives them all the actions they've got coming up for today, anything new, anything pending that needs to happen, and anything overdue. So they never got a shortage of information on what they should be working on. There's a couple of places that Andrea could choose to work. One is the action pad. Now, I'm just going to hit refresh in case that needs refreshing. And in the action pad, you can see all the actions that are assigned. We've got a filter here as well at the top left, so we can filter what she sees to limit that information. And you can see all the work that Andrea's got assigned to her, plus a few warnings in here. So if we look at something like deliver training, and we jump into the action detail, we can see more information around that. We see there's a couple of checklist items. If I scroll down to the bottom, I can see there's some notes on that action, things that Andrea really cares about. While she's in the screen, she could actually use that resource assignment wizard again. She could log time. She needs to raise an issue. She can do that there. And she can also mark off checklists and items as complete. Across the top, it tells her how far she is through all what's being assigned to her, anything that may be overdue, and just a summary of where her hours sit. Now, one of Andrea's preferences is to actually use the Kanban whiteboard. And the Kanban whiteboard gives you a lot of capabilities. So perhaps Andrea might be looking at, how do we work on things from a priority perspective? Everything's color-coded by project here at the moment, and maybe she wants to see just work that's filtered around a certain area. So there's a number of filters she could actually use. And we might say, okay, let's just have a look at everything that she's got assigned starting this week. Bring that right down to simplify. And we'll change that to status, so she can see everything that's actually planned, what's in progress. She can see her requirements meeting. If we drag that across to in progress, that will let the project manager that she started working on it, she can expand that. Now that's got the project, the milestone, the action number, and the bottom 5 fields are fully configurable. For today's session, we've got start date, end date, hours remaining, % complete, and any checklist items. We can see we've got 8 hours allocated here, and our checklist items also at the bottom. A few other icons here. If we needed to chat to people across the organization on the project, we can do that. If we needed to raise issues, we can do that as well. Andrea's going into her requirements meeting. She wants to make sure she's done everything that's been allocated to her. So she's established the requirements, they've agreed what's going into the build, and then she's going to document that out as well. And that marks that off. And login time. She could log time from the pop-up at the bottom of the screen, and she can use the little icon on the Kanban card, which gives you a little pop-up. She might put in some documentation, any notes she wants to put against the project, log the hours. She could have actually used the time tracker, but she's going to log the time after the event. We can see that the 8 out of 8 hours, 3 out of 3 checklist items, and we might just drag that to complete. So we know that's something we don't need to work on anymore. And that also has an impact of its own on the project. So if we go back to our project and hit refresh under the work breakdown structure, we should see that that requirements milestone, as there was only one action under that milestone, that's actually been marked as complete. Now, because that's marked as complete, we had a fixed price milestone billing set up for this project. We're going to be billing out $1,500 to a client. That will have kicked off a billing event. That billing event is going to have an invoice attached to it, and that will refresh at the bottom here. You can send that to the client as a URL, or there'll also be a PDF that'll appear. Once you send that to the client and they pay it, and you can then mark that as paid. So pretty much a very swift life cycle, if you like, of a project. So what we've essentially been able to do is kick our project off, actually get someone working on it, get them to actually do some work, create a billing event, and then mark that as paid. Now, why is that important? Because across the business, to get visibility of a project and where it's up to, the people who have access can see, well, if I want to look at the billing side of things, I can see that we've invoiced out 1,500, 1,500's been paid, so they could actually go back to actually start the next milestone and work on a design. But the client may have said, look, we need to delay, we need a bit more time to be ready. So if we had a quick look into the Gantt chart view, we can get a view of the project. We can work in the Gantt chart view as well, and might say, look, this design phase, we'd like to push that out to the following week. And then because we've already set all our dependencies in there, those will get pushed out. Maybe we'll set our milestone deadlines out as well. When we're happy with that, we can hit save. And we'll be covering off in a few minutes also about how we can actually share things such as the Gantt chart. You can see you can share them out to project as a PDF, as a PNG, and also show you that on a status report. And then from the billing perspective, we have an invoice template that you can modify to your own. Use that to send that out. We've also got GST set up for our account, so it's applying the GST there as well. So what about the scheduling side of things? So it's great that we assigned a resource to work on one action, but what if we wanted to have a look at what else is happening across the organization? So if I just bring out, let's get a full view of this week. I can see that requirements workshop there. I can see what Andrea just worked on. So across my team, I can see at the project level at the top what projects they're working on, down at the action level where we just were. And I can also get a heat map view by looking at the hours and say, look, where are people really busy or not too busy? I can see Andrea's a bit overworked this Thursday and the following Friday. So maybe I want to help reassign a bit of work, talk to a few people, and maybe let's assign that down to Colin. Let's assign that piece of work down to Colin and see what that looks like. Bit of a what-if analysis, if you like. We've allocated 8 hours to Colin, but he's only got scheduled utilization for about 20% of his time. So you can set that within at the role level. That's pretty much okay. We're happy with that. Before I jump out of that, so in my heat map, and that's also useful looking forward. So looking to the weeks and months ahead, how are we looking from a capacity perspective? Andrea's obviously super overworked being a demo org, so we could actually start allocating that out to different people, but it gives us an idea of what's actually happening within our organization. Also accounts for holidays across the team, individual leads, so we can see that Andrea's got next Monday off. I can also see she's got a lot of work starting the following Tuesday, so I might want to allow for that as well. So I get that human element. Don't overwork people if you can help it. If we jump into a sample project, I've got my Labs Roadshow project, and this has got a bit more information. The work breakdown structure very similar, but the Insights tab where you can get a real high-level view of your project. You can see from a cost performance index perspective and a schedule performance how this is running. So it's above 1, so we're actually doing better than we expected on margin, but the schedule's fallen below 1, so we're running a bit behind. I can see I've got an overdue action, and I had quite a few risks in this project that I'd highlighted. I can see the billable dollars, billable hours, a P&L summary, And this is a retainer project, so we'd actually invoiced 85,000 up front, and that was paid, and we can see what's remaining left to happen. Budget items, something we released in release 1.58 a couple of weeks ago, where you can create budgets right down at the milestone level for, and this is especially useful for construction type clients, where all the expenses, purchase orders, everything across your milestones, you can track them at the various levels. So you track your forecast, your profit and loss, gross margin percent, and variance levels. Other things you may want to track within your project, certainly tracking risks, what things could potentially impact the project, things such as as approvals, having a look at the risk detail. Maybe it's something we're going to highlight in the weekly status report. And if this does actually get realized, what do we actually do to impact that? We can actually transfer that, if you like, escalate that into an issue. So issue log for any incidents or issues that arise against the project. Again, all sorts of areas you could actually work on, and again, share that with the end client. We've had a look at the whiteboard, the Gantt chart, revenue recognition built into the product. So certainly if you need to report on revenue, when it's actually going to be realized, either historically, but also looking through to the future, is when are we actually going to start delivering? When can we actually take that money to the bank, as it were? Things that you may want to add into sending to your clients is having a status report that you can share out to your client, and what you want to put into that status report. So giving them a really good view of what's happening with the project, how far through are we, from an overview level of the work breakdown structure, how far through are we in that, and maybe including things such as the Gantt chart and any issues around the project. Other areas which are really powerful as well is the new feature of the read-only client view. So share that as a URL, and that way the client can get a view of what's happening with the project you're working on with them. So it gives you that overview. You choose what you want to show in here. It gives them a read-only Gantt chart, but it's mildly interactive, so they can actually go and see what's happening across various parts of the project, as well as things such as those issues and any change requests. We mentioned the Gantt chart. We have a concept of Gantt anywhere, which means you could have a Gantt chart not just under your project, you could have it on any object in Salesforce, but we also have the standalone Gantt chart. This is kind of powerful when you've got a program of projects, or perhaps several projects you want to keep a close eye on. So you can see how they're progressing. We can see our labs roadshow there, see what's happening with that. We can see we're in the design phase, and I can have a look at those dependencies. Looks like we've actually started a little bit of work on the wireframes. If we need to make any changes, we can actually edit from within the Gantt chart as well. We can work on the actions, what have you. If we need to do things like check baseline, so the baseline toggle here, we can check what's changed with the project since we set the baseline, or reset the baseline as it were, and we can go right down to the checklist item level as well if we wanted to see all the checklists that apply across projects. Entering time is pretty important. Obviously, as I mentioned, there's about 7 different places you can log time. You can do that while you're within the project as a pop-up. Some people prefer to come into the timesheet and enter their time. Any projects you're assigned to with allocations of hours, you can have them show to see what should actually be happening here. And the other work, you can add projects in here as well. Clone last week's hours, all sorts of features such as that. I've only got this set to one type of time. You can have billable, non-billable time there as well. If you're integrated into Outlook or Google Calendar, you could actually have items come across as events. So these are assignments we've got within our projects. But if you had an event come up here and you wanted to log time, you could actually log time against that and assign it as you may need. And also any approvals. So if you're the approver, either from a management perspective or from a project management perspective, you can denote whether to approve that time or send it back for review. Coming through to the project management office, so the PMO dashboard, quite powerful. We've selected a number of projects we want to keep an eye on. I can see that my cost performance index as of the beginning of the month is sitting pretty well. We're doing well on profit here, but we're running behind on schedule. And I can drill down into each individual project. Might want to see how am I performing based on, say, 4 weeks ago. So let's compare, are we getting better or getting worse? It looks like we've improved from a cost performance perspective, but we're falling a little behind on a schedule. And we could actually drill in. We can see our Labs Roadshow project there, for example. We'd have a look at the design, and you can drill down into the specific milestones, maybe chat to someone on the team, maybe need to add some resource, see who's actually contributing to that project as well. Similarly, from within here, if you want to look across those projects from a revenue recognition, so across all those projects, how are we actually going to be capturing revenue? And you can do that historically, but also featuring forecasting forward as well. Role utilization, out of the box capability here with the role utilization report. Each of your resources, you can set what their target billable hours are and percent, and then based on what they're delivering, you can have that in the role utilization. Bring that from an individual role. We could do that across the team, and also from what the master team may be above that, which then takes us through, if you like, to the end. Obviously run through this very quickly, which is good in a lot of ways. Being built on Salesforce means that we can build any dashboards or reports that we need relevant to our business. So being able to forecast revenue from sales is great, but being able to forecast that deliverable revenue from the services is even better for a services type business. And all the metrics that you may care about are certainly captured in there. So what we've gone through today is we've started with the Salesforce opportunity. We've created a project from that. We've assigned a resource. They've logged some time, and we've got right through to the billing cycle, being able to generate an invoice. And then we've gone through the various aspects of what we can capture in Mission Control. So what I'd like to do is open up to a few questions. I do have a few that have come through during the session. And I've got a licensing question here. Does everybody in my team need to have Mission Control? Who needs Mission Control? Just bear with me for a sec. Says, does everybody in my team who need Mission Control just to complete a task? And the best answer to that is, if you need to interact with Mission Control, you certainly need a Mission Control license. And to use Mission Control, you need a Salesforce license. Does the price of the Mission Control license change based on the type of Salesforce license? No, we have our standard licensing, which I'll cover shortly in a few slides' time. There's a monthly pay by credit card price or annual upfront. Next question. If I don't use billing, is there a way to hide it? Absolutely. So with the Salesforce permission sets, you can show and hide pretty much all the aspects of Mission Control to your end users. So, whether you want them to see anything around billing or financials or not at all. Another question, can I include a company logo anywhere in the software? Yes, you're able to put your logo on the Gantt Chart, invoice, the daily digest, and certainly on the weekly status report. Does it really only take 30 minutes to install? Yeah, it sounds kind of crazy. I've come from, if you like, the big end of town with enterprise PSA solutions that often take months to install, implement. To install Mission Control into your Salesforce org, whether it's your production or your sandbox org, if you download that from Salesforce App Exchange, it literally can be done in under 30 minutes. And pretty much all the capability I showed you today outside that one process builder is what you get when you download it. So everything there is available out of the box. Obviously, you need to add your own roles, teams, projects, and data. But certainly, the actual getting it ready so you can start configuring it for your business, that's super quick. I've got a question here. Can the billing be connected to our external finance system? Absolutely. So there's third-party integration apps available on App Exchange that can do that. We don't provide that out of the box in Mission Control because it varies very much from client to client. But certainly because we're built on Salesforce and we've got that API connectivity from Salesforce, then yeah, you can certainly do that. Can billing within a project show against the related opportunity? Absolutely. Any of the fields you need to show can be added in there. From a reporting perspective, being able to report against various objects, mission control objects, not really much different to that. So you can certainly reference the financials from mission control into the opportunity. That's happy to talk about that offline if there's various ways you'd like to actually do that. I've got a few other questions there which probably relate to more the install. Something we're extremely proud of with Mission Control. So we listed on G2, previously known as G2 Crowd, at the beginning of the year, and we've got many of our clients that come in and say, look, please rate us on G2, let us know what you really think. And out of 9 areas of satisfaction areas, we came number 1, and one of them we came number 2. And we've certainly got the highest net promoter score across the industry. I think for many software companies, 83, which is kind of unheard of. You can go to G2 and see a lot of those testimonials. We've got case studies and some video testimonials on our website as well. But certainly if you go into G2, you can see that. I think one of my favorites is Scott Hankins from Listrak. He's got a video up there. He pretty adamantly at the beginning says, look, I give them a 10 out of 10. We're pretty happy with that. Scott evaluated about 16 different project management PSA solutions before finally landing on Mission Control. And we're happy to have him on board as a customer. So talking about the trial, so pretty straightforward. You can actually watch if you like, the explainer video demo on AppExchange. You can actually go and have a look at the test drive account. So you can actually test drive, which is a live Mission Control account here. And then obviously to download, you download that into your sandbox or production org, and by default it comes with a 14-day free trial. There's a little in the control pad. If you do that, there's a create sample data button, so you can actually put that in your sandbox and test it out with a few things. And when I came on board, I was incredulous as well. It's like, it literally can be ready to start working with in less than half an hour. If you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Inquiries at aprika.com. Aprika Business Solutions is the name of the company. Mission Control is the name of the product. And you can use our support resources, even when you're on a trial. So support at aprika.com or go to Mission Control Support on our website. Thank you very much for your time today. My name's Trevor Doornbos. I look forward to hearing from any and many of you and hope you enjoyed the session.